What if the same mysterious symbols appeared on stone, caves, and ruins across different continents that were never supposed to be connected? Stay with me, because this mystery stretches across oceans and centuries. Don't scroll. Archaeologists have found repeating marks carved into rock in distant parts of the world, showing similar shapes, patterns, and arrangements despite thousands of miles between them. These symbols aren't simple decorations. They appear in structured sequences, placed in sacred spaces, entrances to underground chambers, and remote cliff walls. Some researchers think this points to ancient contact between civilizations we believe were isolated. Others suggest these symbols reflect a shared lost system of meaning, a kind of universal code once understood across cultures and then forgotten. There are even theories that traveling groups carried these markings as identity symbols, mapping routes or sacred knowledge across lands. No written records explain how these patterns spread so far, or why they survived in such similar forms. The deeper we study them, the more it challenges our understanding of how connected the ancient world may have been. If hidden connections in human history fascinate you, keep watching and follow for more mysteries carved into the past. What if some of the most powerful monuments on Earth were never meant to stand alone? And what if the pyramids scattered across different continents are silent echoes of a single forgotten idea that once traveled the ancient world? Stay with this thought for a moment. Don't scroll away, because this mystery reaches across oceans and thousands of years. And if ancient humans were far more connected than we've been taught, then everything we think we know about early civilization needs to be questioned. Keep watching and stay curious. From the golden sands of Egypt to the jungles of Central America, from the river valleys of ancient China to the islands of Indonesia, pyramid-shaped structures rise from the ground with similarity that feels too precise to be coincidence. These structures were built by cultures separated by vast distances, different languages, and supposedly no contact with one another, yet they share the same fundamental design: massive bases, rising tiers, and a pointed or flattened summit, as if the idea of the pyramid itself was a universal blueprint that multiple civilizations somehow inherited. In Egypt, the pyramids of Giza stand as the most famous examples, built with staggering precision, aligned to cardinal directions with near-perfect accuracy, constructed from millions of stone blocks that still challenge modern engineers to explain how they were moved in place with such precision. Across the Atlantic, the stepped pyramids of the Maya and Aztec civilizations rise from jungle landscapes, their terraces climbing toward the sky, often crowned with temples at the top where rituals and ceremonies once took place. In China, large pyramid-shaped burial mounds the countryside, some still unexcavated, hidden beneath layers of earth and vegetation, their true complexity only recently revealed by satellite imagery. In Indonesia, the site of Gunung Padang reveals a terraced pyramid structure that some researchers believe may be far older than traditionally accepted dates, suggesting the possibility of monumental construction far earlier in human history than we are comfortable acknowledging. These similarities raise a simple but unsettling question: why pyramids, and why everywhere? One explanation often given is that the pyramid is simply the most stable shape for building tall stone structures with ancient technology. A wide base and narrowing top naturally distribute weight and reduce the risk of collapse, making the pyramid an efficient solution for monumental architecture. But this practical explanation does not fully address the deeper symbolic and cultural similarities that appear alongside the architectural form. In many of these civilizations, pyramids were not just buildings. They were sacred mountains, symbolic bridges between the earth and the heavens. They served as burial sites for rulers believed to ascend to the divine, ceremonial platforms for rituals meant to connect humans with gods, and cosmic markers aligned with stars, solstices, and equinoxes. The recurring idea of the pyramid as a sacred structure tied to the sky appears again and again, suggesting a shared symbolic meaning that goes beyond simple engineering convenience. When archaeologists map the locations of pyramids around the world, patterns begin to emerge that feel almost deliberate. Many pyramidal structures are aligned with cardinal directions, solstice sunrises, or specific stars, as if their builders shared a common astronomical knowledge. The Great Pyramid in Egypt is famously aligned with true north with remarkable accuracy, while Mesoamerican pyramids often align with solar events that mark important points in the agricultural calendar. In China, some pyramid mounds show orientation patterns that suggest cosmological significance, tied to ancient beliefs about the balance between heaven and earth. These alignments hint that pyramid builders across continents were not only architects but astronomers, encoding celestial knowledge into stone. The question that follows is deeply uncomfortable for traditional history. Did these cultures independently develop the same complex combination of architecture, astronomy, and symbolism, or was there some form of knowledge transmission that we have yet to fully understand? The idea of ancient global contact is controversial, but refuses to go away. Ancient seafaring capabilities are often underestimated. Yet evidence suggests that early humans were capable of long-distance travel far earlier than we once believed. If trade networks could span thousands of miles on land, why is it impossible to imagine maritime routes connecting distant coasts? Even without direct contact, the possibility of shared myths, traveling knowledge keepers, or lost civilizations that predate known cultures raises profound questions about the origins of human civilization itself. Some theories propose that a highly advanced prehistoric culture may have existed before recorded history, spreading architectural and astronomical knowledge before being wiped out by natural disasters, leaving fragments of their influence scattered across the globe in the form of monumental structures like pyramids. While this idea remains speculative, it persists because conventional explanations leave gaps that feel unsatisfying to many researchers and observers. Modern science often demands physical evidence of contact, such as shared artifacts or genetic links, and so far, definitive proof of direct connections between pyramid-building cultures remains elusive. However, the absence of evidence is not necessarily evidence of absence, especially when dealing with civilizations separated by thousands of years, where organic materials decay and records vanish. What remains of the stones themselves, silent yet enduring, rising from deserts, jungles, and plains, bearing a resemblance that continues to provoke curiosity and debate. These pyramids stand as monuments not only to human ingenuity but to mysteries of our collective past, hinting that the story of civilization may be far more interconnected and complex than the simple, linear narratives often presented in textbooks. As technology advances, new tools like satellite imaging, ground-penetrating radar, and AI-based pattern analysis are revealing hidden structures and alignments that were invisible to earlier researchers. Entire pyramid complexes are being mapped beneath dense forests and farmlands, suggesting that what we see today may be only a fraction of what once existed. Each new discovery adds weight to the idea that ancient monument building was a global phenomenon, not isolated bursts of genius in disconnected regions. The pyramids invite us to reconsider the boundaries we place between ancient cultures and to imagine a world where ideas, beliefs, and knowledge may have traveled farther and deeper into prehistory than we currently acknowledge. If this mystery makes you question what you thought you knew about the ancient world, keep watching, because the story of the pyramids is far from finished, and stones still have secrets to reveal to those willing to look beyond the surface. What if the similarities between pyramids across the world are not just architectural echoes, but fingerprints a shared way of thinking about the universe itself? Stay with me. Don't scroll, because this layer of the mystery goes deeper than stone and into the minds of the ancient builders. Keep watching as we connect patterns that textbooks rarely place side by side. Across Egypt, Mesoamerica, Asia, and beyond, pyramids were more than monuments. They were models of the cosmos built in stone. In many traditions, mountains were seen as sacred places where heaven and earth touched, and the pyramid became a man-made mountain, a symbolic axis connecting the human world to the divine. This shared idea appears in cultures that, according to conventional history, developed in isolation. Yet the symbolism is strikingly similar, ascending levels representing stages of spiritual elevation, summit temples or burial chambers marking the point of contact with the heavens, and ceremonial pathways aligned with celestial events. These are not random design choices. They reflect complex cosmological systems encoded into architecture, suggesting that ancient builders across continents were driven by remarkably similar metaphysical goals. When we look closer at the mathematics embedded in these structures, the mystery deepens. Ratios, angles, and proportions used in pyramid construction often reflect an advanced understanding of geometry. The Great Pyramid's dimensions have been linked to mathematical constants and precise cardinal alignment, while Mesoamerican pyramids demonstrate sophisticated calendrical knowledge, with staircases and terraces marking solar cycles and ritual timekeeping. In Asia, pyramid-like mounds and terrace complexes show careful orientation tied to geomancy and cosmic balance. These shared patterns hint at a global emergence of mathematical thinking tied to sacred architecture. Did these cultures independently arrive at the same mathematical solutions, or were they drawing from an older, more widely distributed pool of knowledge that predated known civilizations? Some researchers argue that human cognition itself provides the answer. Faced with the same natural environment, humans across the world may have developed similar solutions and symbolic systems, because the human mind tends to organize space, power, and the sacred in comparable ways. The pyramid, in this view, is an intuitive form, stable, imposing, and symbolically resonant, representing hierarchy, ascension, and permanence. But this explanation struggles to account for the detailed parallels in astronomical alignment and ritual function. The repeated use of pyramids as time-keeping devices, ceremonial calendars, and cosmic markers suggests not just similar thinking, but similar priorities and knowledge systems. It is one thing to build a stable structure. It is another to embed precise celestial calculations into its very design. Legends and myths from different cultures also echo one another in ways that feel uncannily aligned with the pyramid phenomenon. Stories of sky gods descending to teach humans, of divine architects bringing knowledge of building and astronomy, and of lost golden ages before great catastrophes appear in traditions separated by oceans. While myths are not historical records, they often preserve fragments of collective memory and symbolic truth. The recurrence of these themes raises a possibility that ancient cultures shared not just architectural forms, but stories about their origins and the sources of their knowledge. Could these myths be distorted memories of ancient interactions, migrations, or even encounters with now-forgotten cultures that once spanned wider regions than we assume? Modern archaeology is cautious about such interpretations, preferring evidence grounded in physical artifacts and datable remains. Yet even within mainstream research, the timeline of human capability is shifting. Discoveries of advanced tool use, early seafaring, and long-distance trade in prehistoric times are pushing back the dates of human sophistication. The idea that ancient people were isolated, technologically naive, and slow to develop complex knowledge is increasingly difficult to defend. The pyramids, standing as monumental proof of organization, planning, and long-term vision, reinforce the notion that early civilizations were capable of feats that rival modern expectations of complexity. As we uncover more sites through satellite imagery and remote sensing, patterns of pyramid-like structures emerge in regions previously overlooked. Hidden beneath forests, farmlands, and even modern cities are traces of terraced platforms and monumental foundations that suggest pyramid-building traditions were more widespread than currently documented. Each new discovery adds weight to the argument that pyramidal architecture was not an isolated curiosity, but a global expression of ancient ambition and cosmic understanding. The similarities may not require a single lost supercivilization to explain them, but they do demand that we rethink how ideas, technologies, and spiritual concepts spread in the ancient world. If this perspective shifts the way you see the ancient monuments rising across the planet, keep watching. Because the deeper we look into the stones, the more they reveal about the shared roots of human imagination and the hidden connections that may have shaped civilization itself. What if the pyramids scattered across the world are not just relics of the past, but messages deliberately left for the future? Stay with me. Don't scroll, because this final layer of the mystery forces us to look at these structures not as isolated wonders, but as part of a global pattern written in stone. Keep watching as the pieces come together. When we step back and view the pyramids as a network rather than individual monuments, their global similarity begins to feel less like coincidence and more like a shared human instinct to mark meaning onto the landscape in the most permanent way possible. These structures were not built for convenience. They were built to last, to dominate horizons, to anchor memory in physical form. Across continents, ancient societies chose the same monumental geometry to express power, sacredness, and connection to the sky, suggesting that the pyramid shape carried a universal psychological weight that transcended culture, language, and geography. As modern researchers continue to study these sites, new questions emerge about what knowledge may still be encoded within them. Hidden chambers, unexplored tunnels, and buried foundations hint that much of what the pyramids were designed to do remains undiscovered. Advanced scanning technologies are revealing voids and internal structures that challenge earlier assumptions about how and why these monuments were constructed. It is possible that the pyramids were not just ceremonial platforms or tombs, but complex systems designed to shape sound, light, and ritual experience in ways we are only beginning to understand. The consistent emphasis on elevation, alignment with celestial events, and symbolic ascent suggests that the builders were encoding experiences meant to transform perception, guiding participants through carefully orchestrated encounters with architecture and sky. The global presence of pyramidal forms also invites us to reconsider how we define progress and technological advancement. Modern societies often view ancient civilizations as stepping stones toward our own era, yet the precision, endurance, and symbolic complexity of these structures challenge that linear narrative. The pyramids have outlasted empires, technologies, and belief systems, standing as reminders that ancient knowledge was not primitive, but deeply sophisticated in ways that prioritize longevity, meaning, and cosmic alignment over speed and convenience. In this sense, the pyramids may reflect a different model of intelligence, one focused on embedding knowledge into landscapes and structures meant to speak across millennia. Whether the similarities between pyramids across the world arose from shared human psychology, convergent solutions to monumental building, long-distance cultural exchange, or remnants of deeper connections lost to time, the mystery itself is what matters. These monuments force us to confront the limits of our historical narratives and to accept that much of the ancient world remains unknown. The pyramids do not offer easy answers. They offer enduring questions carved into stone, inviting each generation to look again, to doubt simple explanations, and to imagine broader possibilities for human history. If this journey across continents and centuries change the way you see these ancient monuments, keep exploring, keep questioning, and stay curious, because the stones still stand, and their story is far from finished.